Welcome to Ecstasy Crafts, and today's class is our Paper Rose Folio class with our black and white paper and the nice inky color embossed die cuts that we're going to use. In your package, get out your paper and your die cuts and all your cardstock, and we will begin this class. I'm going to run you through the folio first, another visual before we start. I find that helpful for me when I'm doing classes. Also, there are so many different things that can be done with this folio. I will be following the instructions to a T, and I do have one correction I've discovered that I have made. I did post it on the Facebook page in advance, so hopefully everyone caught that. If not, I've got a workaround. It is just a minor inconvenience, so don't stress about that. So to just walk you through the folio, you'll see that, actually I'm going to do the cover first. You can see that I've coordinated all the papers on the cover. Just, it helps it. It keeps it just fluid and consistency if you kind of coordinate and use the same pattern or as close to as possible. I did continue it onto the inside. You will see the one I'm doing today is, as I work with you, is slightly different. I've used different papers because I was using what was left in the pack. You can see we have lots of pockets and tags. You can see where I've added the beautiful die cuts, lots of folds, picture slots. We've got this really fun gatefold done in a different style where we've done it up and down rather than side to side. Add a little pocket here. You can add or take away as much or as little as you like. We've got a functioning waterfall within. I'm going to teach you how to make one of those. More pictures, places. You can buy picture corners too and add photographs to here wherever you like. You can write on these pages. You can write on the glossy pages too with a gel pen. Again, more pockets and pouches for keeping things. Another flip out. And this I actually made from the outer edge of this picture frame die cut. So keep that in mind when you're die cutting your frames out. You know, look at your excess paper in a different light. So, and that is the end of that. Once you've made this, you will realize how easy it is to add and subtract and change this up. It's so fun. I've made so many of these now. I'm actually going to show you another one here just quick. This one in a completely different theme than that one. Nice bright colors in this one with some hunky-dory, delightful die cuts. Again, the inside structure is exactly the same as the one we're doing, just different colors, different pockets. I did a triple pocket here, different frames on this one, possibilities. Just run with it, play with it, have fun with it. These make fabulous gifts for special occasions. You could baby theme them. You could wedding theme them. You can add more pages, and I will show you what you can do to add more pages as we go through the video. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to put this off to the side, the finished project, and pull out the instructions. And as I said, there are so many different ways that you can do this. I am going to follow the instructions as closely as I possibly can. Sometimes I do get sidetracked a little bit. I squirrel a little bit, but that's okay. I think most of us do. So your first part of your instructions are your supplies and what came in your kit and what you need. So we're going to start with all your colored cardstock. Now, I have recommended that you cut these out in advance. If not, you can just work as you go and follow along as I do it. I have pre-cut all mine just for the purpose of teaching the class because it makes things go faster. And you will notice that there are different measurements for various things. But what we're going to make first is we're going to make the base. We're going to make the base of the package of the folio. So that is all the black cardstock that creates this. And then from there, we will start using the pattern papers and the solid papers, and we will start building that up. So what you're going to do is take 2 sheets of your black A4 cardstock. You need your scoreboard, and you're keeping them full. So there's a lot of scoring involved in this. And all right. So what we want to do is you're going to lay out your piece of cardstock, your full piece, and got backwards. We're going to lay it out this way. Nope, I didn't. I had it right in the first place. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we are going to score at 2 1/4. And then we're going to continue over here and we're going to score at 8 1/4 and then again at 9 1/4. So there's one, and now we want to repeat this exactly like you just did. And we are going to score at 2 1/4, 8 1/4, and 9 1/4. So now you have 2 of these. Now, what I like to do is I like to go ahead and do all my base together, and then I can just glue it all together. So that's what I'm going to follow through and I'm going to do. So next, what we want to do is you're going to take your next 3 full sheets of cardstock, and we are going to score that in half. So at 5 1/2. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So now we have 3 pieces of black cardstock in half, so they look like this. So you're going to fold them, you're going to burst them, and then you have 3 half sheets, just like that. Now you're going to take your next piece and you're going to cut one piece at 8 1/2 inches and 2 1/4 inches. So this is 8 1/2 by 2 1/4. And then you're going to put that into your scoreboard, and we are going to score at 3/4 of an inch, and then again at 1 1/2. And then you're going to fold these in and you're going to burst them like this, and you are going to end up with a piece that looks like this. The next piece is going to be, we're going to cut 2 pieces at 5 3/8 and 4 3/4. So you're going to have 2 pieces at that. All right, and they are, as I said, they are 5 3/8 by 4 3/4. And then what you want to do is score each piece. You're going to lay it in here. So we have 5 1/4, we've got 4 3/4 this way, and 5 3/4 this way. And what we want to do is we want to score at 4 1/4 here. So that's going to give us a 1/2 inch score here, just like that. And you want to do each one the same way. So again, we have 4 3/4 this way, and then we have 5 3/8 this way, and you're going to score down there at 4 1/4, giving us a 1/2 inch. Put those off to the side, and then we need to cut a piece that is a 1/2 inch by 4 1/2 inches. Sorry, did I say 1/2 inch? It's 1 1/2 inches at 4 1/2 inches. And then we're going to score, so we're going to lay it out like this, so it's 4 1/2 inches across the top of your scoreboard, and score it at 4 inches so that you have it like this. And then last, out of your black, what we need is we're going to cut 4 3 by 3 inch squares. No scoring involved with those. These are going to be for your waterfall. So we'll put those off to the side. So now we have all our black cardstock all set up and ready, and we can get our glue out, and we're going to start gluing our base together. So we're going to take our 2 bases that we scored 3 times, okay? And we want to place them side by side. So the 8 1/4 and the 9 1/4 scores are on the right side. So, like this. So there is your 8 1/4 and your 9 1/4 inch score line, like this, and we want them both to be on the right side. So that's on the right side, and that's on the right side. And I know that sounds a little confusing until you see it, but this is what we're looking at here. And then what we're going to do is we are going to apply the glue to the right-hand space on the piece on the left. So what that means, this is my piece on the left. I know with this black it's hard to see it, but we want to apply glue to this space because we're going to adhere it like this. So you want to take it right up to, but not over your score line. I'm going here. Now you're going to take your other piece, keeping those 2 scores to your right. You want to fold the left-hand score over on top of the base, so it's like this. And then this score line is going to line up with this score line, but not over it. You just want to take it and put it up and butt it up against it, because you need to make sure that that's going to fold for you. So you can fold this up, because that's going to create a fold. Burst that down. And then you're going to end up with this little piece sticking out here. And that's the way we want it. So again, your 8 1/4, 9 1/4 inch score lines, are to the right. You're going to adhere your glue. So you can see there's a seam back here. We glue that down, and we want this piece to stick up, because that's going to help us hold pages in place in the folio. So there's your cover. And that takes us, let me see where we are. I have to figure out my instructions as well. Okay, so now we want this piece with the double scores on it. All right, and what we're going to do is we are going to apply glue down the back of this, and we're going to place it in this space. and it's going to be to the left of this. So it's going in that space between the 8 1/4 and the 9 1/4 inch score lines. So we're just going to apply glue to the back of it. You want a healthy amount of glue, but you also don't want it oozing out too much. And I am just going to center this into this space. As best I can, and you do not want it on top of those score lines. If it's not exactly centered, that's okay. Just try and line it up as best you can, top and bottom. So now you can see we have 1, 2, and 3 standing up like that. And again, 2 more areas to attach more pages to it. So that takes us to the end of page 1 on our instructions. So we're going to flip over. Before we move forward, I want you to go all the way, 2/3 of the way down the page. And where it says using your 12-inch patterned paper cut, go down 1, 2, 3 bullets. And it says cut 1 at 5 6/8 by 8 3/8 for the inside back cover. That should have been 5 7/8. If you already have your paper cut, don't worry about it. I have something to show you for that. So I just wanted you to make that correction on your instructions before I move forward and I forget. So back to the top of the page, we're going to take the 3 pieces that have been scored in half. So take one of those pages and glue it scored side up to the inside of the first spine piece. Make sure I'm walking you through this. So when I say upside, when I say take the first piece that's scored in half, take one and glue it scored side up. So like this. So it opens that way. And we're going to glue it onto here. Now, one of the things to think about, these gaps here are going to allow you to expand these pages and put more in there. It's going to allow that page to expand as you fill your folio once it's finished. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put glue down here. Oh, actually in my instructions, I'm telling you to do it on the inside. So I've done a lot more of these since I actually created this first one. So whether you do it on the inside or the outside, for this particular one, it doesn't matter. And again, keep in mind that you do not want to cover that score line. But also when you're putting this in place, make sure you're lining it up with the rest of your folio across the top and the bottom. To keep it lined up as best you can here and here. You're gonna, at some point, it's gonna get a little wonky. What I have found though is that when you close it all up, it looks fine. So don't stress about it. That is something that you can work on as you go. So there's our first interior page. Now our next one, we're gonna take the next one, scored side down and glue it to the inside of the second one. So now, so this one went this way with the score side up, and this one, we're going to put it in the opposite way, and we're going to glue it into here, just like that. So again, I'm going to glue this one here. It's going to open this way. Making sure that it'll still flip for me. You got to work, depending on what glue you're using, you want to make sure you do these tests quite quickly before your glue sets. Do it while you can, like, do your flip test to make sure that it's folding okay before your glue sets, so you can shift it a little bit. All right, so now we have 4 pages, because you're going to count 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next, we're going to take the last one, scored side up, and glue it to the inside in here of the large spine. Again, that was score side up. So like this. I'm going to glue it down right there. Again, score side up. Lining it up top and bottom again. And making sure I can flip it before my glue sets. There we go. Now we have all our base pages glued in place. You can use double-sided tape. I find the glue, I prefer the glue. It's faster. I find it more efficient. Double-sided tape, I do love double-sided tape, but in this particular project, I prefer my glue. All right, so now we're going to move on to the next paragraph. And it says, open the folder and open the first page. And on the right-hand side, glue down the scored portion of the 5 1/4 pieces. Okay, so what we're going to do, we want these, I know it's really hard to see the black on black. Hang on one second here. What do I have here? Look at this. So open the cover, and then the first page that we glued in with the score side up, we're going to open that up. And we have the left side and the right side of that page. So what we want to do is on the right side, we want to take these little pieces with that 1/2 inch score, and we are going to glue them. Can I fit that in here? I just want to show you what it's, we're creating that gatefold. And that 1/2 inch is going to be where we glue it down. Okay, it's not lined up perfectly because the page is just as big, so it's not quite getting in there, but I wanted to be able to show you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 1/2 inch score, and we're going to apply our glue to that. I'll move move this down so I can make sure I'm getting it lined up. Now, this is slightly smaller than your page width-wise. And you want that because you want to allow, oh, sugar. Get that back in. You want to allow for these folds. So when these fold, so I have made these slightly smaller on both sides, so you're going to center it. And then we're going to take this one, we're going to do the exact same thing. If I did my measurements right, you should have ever so slightly a little bit of a gap. If it's off, before you glue your second piece on, if they're overlapping at all, just trim it a little bit, okay? Because you don't want them, you're better off with a gap in here, in this part, than you are with them overlapping. You want them to sit flush. So mine are fine. I'm going to add, let me glue to this side. I'm going to glue this one down. You don't make any notes in the instructions. Because it makes sense to me doesn't always mean it's going to make sense to someone else. So please make your little notes in the margins and change the wording if you need it. So when you go back to recreate it, you can follow your own instructions. I find everybody describes things and visualizes things a little bit differently. So there we go. So now this is our gatefold, just like that. So that's that part done. Don't worry if you've gotten glue on your black cardstock, because we're going to cover this up with some pretty colors and patterned papers. So don't stress about that. All right, so there is our gatefold. And now we're going to go back. We're going to close this page up over top of our gatefold. Now we've used all our black pieces except for the 3-inch squares, which are for your waterfall. And then this will be for your gatefold, but not yet. Okay. Now we're going to come back here, and what we're going to do is we are going to, this is your front cover, and you've got this scored piece here. We want to make it into a pocket on our front cover. So you can tuck things in right at the very front of your folio. So what we're going to do is we're just going to lay a bead of glue here and down at the bottom from the score line out to the outer edge. You don't want a lot, just enough to hold it in place, because you want to be able to tuck things in here. Now we've got this nice little pocket right here that you can stash all kinds of little notes and stuff in there. Perfect for whatever you would like to use. So we're going to move on. And we're going to work on the magnet portion of this now. So if you get out your magnet sheet, and what we're going to do with our magnet sheet, put that off to the side just for a moment. That'll allow that stuff to dry up. So everybody got a sheet of magnet in their package. And these magnets cut fabulous, whether it's with scissors or with your cutter, doesn't matter. And then what we want to do, so this is the size, you want to cut 2 strips down the length, so it's full length like this. I have found the strip magnets work the best doing these folios. You can use the little round magnets, but what I find is that they are not quite enough. If you get overzealous and you're stuffing too much stuff into your folio, which I tend to get overzealous in making it, and maybe I've added a couple of extra pages I shouldn't have. This, I find, gives you more leeway, so when you close it, there's more area for it to grab instead of just those 3 little round circles that some people will put in theirs. So what we are doing is you want to cut it 3/4 of an inch wide. You need 2 strips, so what I do is just cut the 2 and then just let them grab is what I'm saying in my instructions, and they will adhere to each other like this, okay? Looking for my double-sided tape. If moving forward, sometimes you can buy the magnet with the adhesive already on it. That works fabulous, and then you don't have to do this particular step. But once your magnets have grabbed together like that, then what you want to do is cover both sides with double-sided tape. So if you've got wider tape that fits the full width, you only need to cut, do 1 strip down. But in this case, I've just got some narrower tape. You want to make sure you're out as really close to the edge, adding your tape to it. Just going to run 3 strips down here. I could have gone a little closer to the edge on that one, but that's okay. It's going to work. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do the double-sided tape on the other side as well, just because I'm working with it. You can do one at a time if you like. That part, you can use your own discretion. Down the center now. All right. Now, one of the things to take into consideration if you like doing these and you embark on your own, when you are cutting, if you're adjusting any of your measurements for future folios, you want, when you take into consideration the size of your magnet that you are cutting, make sure that you are leaving enough space around the magnet on your folio base that the other paper has enough space to adhere to the base. Okay, and you'll understand that more when we actually go to put it in place. So what we're going to do before I place this, excuse me, just need a quick drink here. All right. So what we're going to do is close this up so that you know where everything is. So there's your front cover. That's on the other side of the pocket we created. And this fold here is going to come up and over. And there's your back spine and your front spine. Okay, so where we want to put the magnet, it's going to be here and here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it here, because this we absolutely know where the placement is on it. So I've done tape both sides, but for now what I'm going to do is just pull the tape off one side. Get all 3 strips off. Oh, hang on. I'm going to pull the tape back up, just the covers. All right. So now I've taken it off, and I've still got both magnets together, and that's okay. And I'm only turning it sideways to make it easier for me on the camera. So what I want to do is center it from top to bottom and side to side as best you can. Like that. So now if I pull my extra magnet off, you can see that, right? So it's on there now, but I do want this back on here because this is how we're going to figure out where that one's going to stick. So you leave it on here, and they're stuck together because that's where, when I say let it grab, because that's, even when that is under paper, that's where that magnet's going to grab. So if it is off a little bit, let it be off, because that's where that magnet wants to grab. It's got a mind of its own. It's going to grab the other magnet where they line up best. So we're going to peel that off. Now this next step is going to be not tricky so much, but take your time doing it. And what you want to do, because of it's not full yet, so it's still very flexible until we get all the other paper on it. So what you want to be able to do is you want this edge to line up with this score line to the front spine, so that when you flip this, it's going to grab here where it should be grabbing once we have the album finished. So I'll do my best on camera so you can see I've got it lined up top and bottom as well as best you can. And you want to line it up on the left side of your score so that that score will go across. Sorry, I know this looks awkward because I'm working on under the camera. And then we're just going to let that, wait a minute, and try and get that to grab. We want the tape to grab. And once it does grab, before it really sticks, you can do a little bit of lining up. And then once it's grabbed, then you can pop it open and really stick it down. And now that will grab, and see, actually, and it's good on the bottom, but I'm actually, oh, there. Oh, there it is. So now it's lined up really nice on the top and on the bottom here. So that's your goal. You want it to line up like that. So that magnet goes on first. So now we have our base completely finished. And this is where we move forward. And now we're going to go on, we're going to put our base off to the side. Because now we're going to move forward and we're going to start cutting and working with our patterned papers. All right, I did sort my papers out because I have cut them ahead of time. So the outside cover, front and back, typically the same pattern. Doesn't have to be. I just found that it flowed nice if I lined up the papers. You can see now, you know, I've used the same paper in there and there, front and back. You don't have to do it that way. Now you could also go even fussier, and you could find this page again and make it, cut this piece out so it lines up and the pattern continues from there over to there. With this particular paper, and the pattern is very abstract, I wouldn't worry about it, but you could try, definitely try. I have moved forward and done other albums where I have actually matched an image page, where I matched this to coordinate with that. So when it's closed, you see the full image that you would see when it's open, and you see the whole image here. And I hope that makes sense. I will maybe try later to, after the class next week, to post some pictures of some of the other albums, one at least that I have done like that, so you can see that. All right, so the, I'm going to bring this back again, sorry. The outside cover, front and back, and the inside back are different measurements than the rest, okay? And that's why there's so many breakdowns, and it has to do with the scoring and the size of the inside pages and such. So for my outside cover, I have chosen this time around to use these papers. Now these two, in front and back outside, are both the same size. So they are 5 7/8 by 8 3/8. And then what you need is, so there's my outside and my back, and then I need, and I'll decide once I get there. I can either do it this way or this way. You need front and back here, and then you need inside here, outside, and outside. All right, so that's front and back, outside. That's the small flip over the magnet, inside and out. And then I need 3 pieces for the spines. All right, so that's my first set of cuts. So that is my 2 5 7/8 by 8 3/8, and then my 3 at 8 3/8 by 7/8 for the spines. And then we're going to skip one, and then it's cut inside front cover. That's that one. Sorry, I'm just, oh, and then way at the bottom, second bullet from the bottom, it says cut 2 at 8 3/8 by 1 5/8. And that's for the front flip, inside and out. And then I just want to go over the inside front cover with your pocket, okay? So what the instructions are telling you is to cut one piece. Oh, wait a minute, I covered them up. You're going to cut one at 5 7/8, 5 6/8 by 8 3/8. So that's this piece. And then what you're going to do is cut one strip from this, 2 1/8 by 8 3/8. So that's this one. So there's your pocket, okay, on the front, your pocket. And this piece will get glued here, like that, and this piece will go here. And that allows for your pocket to stay open, but your pattern continues. And then the back inside cover, this is where I made the error in my typing my measurements. I'm not sure how well you can see that. Just going to, no, that doesn't really help. Anyway, there is the inside score line right there. So this paper, and I am doing this with a 1/8 border around every piece of paper to allow, so you can see the black, but I cut this shy here. So what I'm suggesting and what I'm going to do, if you have not cut your paper yet, make sure you cut it 7/8, not 6/8, and that was the third bullet down in your instructions. Now, all your paper has these borders on them. So on one side, it tells you that it's paper rose, it's inky splash, it's got a skew, shows you what the pattern paper is, and then it has these really nice borders on it like this. Cut those off and save them because you can use these. You can use them as decorative pieces, but what I'm going to recommend that you do if you've already cut your paper is you can take this and you can just put a border down here. Now I'll trim off this extra white here, but it makes it look like you deliberately put a border on there. Just ways to fix little errors, because you know what, there's no error. It's, you know, we're just creating here, and everybody makes little mistakes. I don't know how many of you cut something and then you discover that, hey, that's not the way I wanted it. I'm actually going to glue this down. I'm trying to decide which way I want it. I want it like that. One of the things to think about too, because this is double-sided paper, you can take your patterns and go either way. So I could get really funky with some wild patterns in there and do it like that, or I could do it like this, or like this. Actually, and you know what? I think I'm going to do it like that. I might even use this piece in here. No, I'm going to stick with that first one. I'm going to glue this into place now. I'm going to do my covers because they are different sizes. So I want to do all my covers. I left my pin out of my glue too long. I just got to clear the hole in it. Make sure you're putting lots of glue coverage on the inside of your pattern paper when you're putting it down so that it doesn't lift and you end up with little like bubbles in your paper. And you won't be able to see it because of the pattern on here. I think you can tell by the way I'm moving my arm. Lots and lots of good glue coverage. It doesn't have to be thick. You just want to cover the area. And then I actually think I'm going to bring my paper out. Oh, and I flipped it the other way. It doesn't matter for this one. I'm going to put my little patch strip on the inside rather than on the score line side. I'll come back and add my patch after. All right, now I'm going to just start moving ahead and gluing all my pages, my cover pages, into place. Now I could go this way. I think I'm gonna I really like this pattern, but you can see when I'm putting this on, because the magnet is thick, you want it to grab. You want to have a good magnet for this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use that crosshatch pattern there. my glue to here. And then what I like to do is around the magnet, add extra glue right around the magnet. Make sure that that's glued down really well and your glue grabs. You're going to come back like this. Just want to make sure that that paper is adhering around that magnet. So there's our back cover. Let's flip back over and let's do our front cover here. And that's the two pieces that we've cut. If you did cut it so you have a pattern match here, just pay attention when you go to glue it down, that you glue them on so your patterns match. Now, they don't really touch because you have your black border, but you can clearly see that the pattern is matching. I absolutely love this inky splash paper. It's gorgeous. There we go. And line it up to my score in the crease here. So you can see, even though they're not touching, you can see that those patterns match. I just think it's it's worth taking that extra few minutes to match up your patterns. I think it looks really cool. And especially if you move forward and you start using things that have like flower displays, and there's Paper Rose has some beautiful ones out that have little scenes on them where you can, get them to line up, and it just looks amazing. Now we're going to do the front cover. Now, what I like to do for this is open my book up. Now I just need to decide which way I want it, because this way you can lay out front and back. So I flipped the book in case you guys missed that. So there's the front. We just finished gluing that. So I just flip it upside down, just like you would if you were reading a novel and you had to step away for a moment and you would, you didn't have a bookmark. You'd lay it upside down like that. That's what I did. Now, what I need to do is decide how I want to glue these on. And I want to see too. So this is my top, bottom. try to decide which way I want it to go. I actually think I'm going to do it that way. I think I like that for my cover for the front. And which way do I want it? I'm actually looking at the camera, giving me a different view to see. No, I think I want it this way. I think I'm going to put it that way. And that way. So now we can glue both of these on. And again, this piece has your magnet on it. So you want to make sure that you've got good coverage around that magnet. All right. I'm going to add the glue around my magnet on the card base front. Come back and clean up my glue later. My eraser, most of it you don't see. Make sure that glue and your paper sticks down well, and you really want to make sure it is stuck down well around your magnet. Now put this one on, and then I'll do my back spine too while we've got it lying this way. There we go. Rid of the glue off my hands. All right, now we've got our spines here. Pick and choose how we want this. There we go. Go that way. Again, just make sure you're being careful not to cover your scores with your paper. You want that, those are your hinges, so to speak, that allow your pages to fold. I'm going to do this one here as well. There we go. There's our spines. Now I just need to cover this. Well, am I thrilled with that? No. Trying to decide which one I want. Lesser of evils. All right, I'm going to go with that, but I would be curious what you guys would have chosen if you would have chosen this one or this one. So feel free to toss that into the comments. Which one you would have chosen. Actually, now that I look at the camera, I don't mind that. That's half the battle, you know. Sometimes picking your papers out. No, I am going to stick with that one. Picking your papers out, I find, can take the longest out of projects, more than the assembly or anything in itself. But definitely, I'd like to see what you guys would have chosen, if you would have gone with what I chose or with the crosshatch pattern. Just curious. I'm going to flip this over again though, because it's hard because the album's not full yet. Is that the way I wanted it? Yes. I thought maybe I had reversed it, so I wanted to check before the glue dried. All right. So there we go. An hour in, and we now have our base. This will grab better once we put more stuff inside. None of the inside pages are beefed up. You will be able to tell already how much firmer this feels once you start adding your paper to it, inside and out. It's amazing how sturdy this becomes from just plain cardstock. All right, so that we're and I strayed off the instructions. I told you I was going to stay to it. As we cut, we glued them into place. So then we're going to cut our, I knew I would do that eventually. I just can't. I squirrel. Now we have our base done. Okay, so next in the instructions, it's telling us to cut out our solid papers. All right, so I have pre-cut everything here. And this is in a completely different color, and I'll explain why. It's to show something. Now I just have to remember where and what everything is on here. So I think that is that. Yes, it is. Now, So we're cutting 6 at 5 1/8 by 8 3/8 of various colors. Okay, so I have 6 colors cut like that. And then the extra one, and keep all your scraps too, because we're going to use those. And they are all, you're left with very little by the time we finish this. And so cut 2 at 3 7/8 by 1 3/8. So those are these. These are done. We've got our solids. So we're going to cut these two. As I said, these are 3 7/8 by 1 3/8. And then we're going to round the corners on one end only. Oh, wrong end. So we're going to, this is an envelope punch. If any of you did the envelope class, you would have received this. I love this little punch because it's dual purpose. You can round your corners. Now we do want to just round one end, not both ends. And you'll see why once we're done. Now, we're going to go back to this black piece that we scored, and we're going to round the ends on this too. Like that, because these go together, and so does this little teeny tiny piece here. That one goes with those as well, so we don't lose that. Cut one at 2 3/4 by 9 inches. So that's this piece here. And this is going to be our base for our waterfall. Okay. And let's score that one while we've got it out here. So what we are scoring here, we're going to lay this across the top, so it's going to come across 9 inches here. Got to keep losing my spot. 9 inches. So we're going to score at 2 3/4, and then 3 1/4, and 3 3/4, and 4 1/4. So that was 2 3/4, 3 1/4, 3 3/4, and 4 1/4. And then we're going to hole punch. If I can find my hole punch, I know I brought it in here. In the center at the end closest to the 4 1/4 score line. So that was our 4 1/4. So we want to hole punch right here. I just have to find my hole punch. How many of you people out there doing the class lose your supplies as fast as you get working? Because I do. All the time. Well, you know what? I do not. It's here. I'll find it. So you're going to score, or you're going to do a hole punch right here. I have lost mine in my mess here. I don't know where it is. Okay, I'm not going to waste any more time on it. So you would punch a hole in it here and round those corners as well on that. We're just, the round corners are nice. So on the longest end, round those corners, and hole punch it. So what you're going to end up with is a piece that looks similar to this. So we rounded those corners and we did a hole punch in it. And that's going to be your base for your waterfall. And then we want to burst these. Keeping it lined up. Keeping it lined up while you burst them. So it's just like this. And that's that one. I'm just rereading my instructions here. Cut 2 at 3 7/8, rounding. Those are those ones. And various colors. All right, so we're done on this page 2. So now we are going to flip over and we're going on to page 3. And from the same color that we cut and scored the 9-inch piece, we want to cut 4 squares at 2 3/4. So these, remember I told you the 3-inch squares were for the waterfall? So that's what these are for. So we're going to glue these onto here, onto your black ones. Center those on there with your border. You're going to end up with 4 green and black pieces. Well, green and black because that's what mine are. Yours will be whatever you've chosen to use for that. Go. Last one. All right, so we glued those. So now we have 4 like that with this. And then we need a piece that is 1 inch by 5 inches in the coordinating color, same color as these. And then you're going to put it, run it across the top of your scoreboard, 5 inches across. And then we want to score at 1 1/8 inches, which is right here. Nope, right here. We're going to score there. And then we're scoring again at 4 inches. And I know it's not, oh, wait a minute. I did not come all the way down there. There we go. And then what we're going to do is fold those in. I know they're not quite even, but that was the best I could do measurement-wise. And that part does not matter anyway. So this piece here, this is my sample to show you how it works, is this piece here. All right, so what we are going to do is, can I pull this out and show you? I should be able to. Can you see in there? We're going to glue that in like that so that that tucks in. Because what that does, we're going to glue this down just on this piece here. And when that's stuck in place, that will allow you to move this. Just like that. So we're going to take this and this. And what you want to do, you want to make sure that this part covers this part when you glue it down. So you can see here, do I have, let's see, how far up did I come? About an inch. Inch and an eighth from the bottom to the bottom of this. So if we flip this over, let that drop, and we're going to put glue on the insides here and here, but you don't want to bring it all the way out to the edges because you don't want it. It's got to be able to move in here. Hang on. Oh, see? I'm even telling you to do it. Hang on. We're not gluing it to this part. We're gluing it to the top part. So it's going to be glued down. So yes, you're coming up about an inch from the bottom there, but the glue is going on the top part here and being stuck to this part. Because you need to be able to move this part. So the part that you hole punched, you want to be able to move it. Hang on. I have to move my scoreboard out of the way. Okay. So about an inch up. I make sure that that covers it. So lay it on there like this. And turn it sideways so I can, and my hands aren't in front of the camera. And what you want to do is you want to apply your glue to the top. Don't get too close to the center, because you don't want it, you don't want glue getting on this bottom piece, only on the top piece. So now I'm going to flip this over, and you want to fold it on the top score line, and then you're going to set it down like that. And then you want to work it so that you know it's not sticking to that bottom piece and only to the top piece. Just like that. I am just going to make sure, you do want to make sure it's stuck down well though. I am still looking for my hole punch as I'm working here. All right. So there we go. So when you put your fingers, if you just gently hold your fingers on that piece we just glued on and grab it by the hole punch and pull it up, it should move just like that for you. Just like that. All right. And I swirled, so there's the base for your waterfall because we did it while we were cutting. I don't know if this purple shows better in the light. Oh, and I pulled it apart. I'm just gonna, I don't know if you can see it better than the green. I just made that one for a sample to show. Okay, so just put that off to the side for now. That's your base for your waterfall with your little squares. So we've got that all put together. So now what we're going to do is we are going to come back to the instructions. And now we're going to glue all the patterned and solid full page papers into place. We already did the papers around the magnets, okay? And the spines. Now, this is one of the spines that we did not cover. And this is where these nice little strips that I told you to hang on to, that's where they come into play, because these fit perfectly in here. You don't have to use them if you don't want to, but you can, and they do fit absolutely perfect in here. And all you have to do is trim the length. I'm just going to mark mine here and flip it over. I'm leaving this extra little piece on here. You can trim it off if you want. It still fits nicely in there. I'm just going to mark it on this side so I know where to cut it on the back side. Trim that off. And glue that into place. Again, always being careful to make sure that you're not gluing on top of your score lines. There we go. All right, so this is the fun part. This is where you can use your own discretion where you are gluing stuff in, because it's going to be a blend of the solids and the printed patterns. So you can see in here I have done a variety, mix and match them. So I'm just going to do a quick layout so I know which way I'm going to do them. I know I want a solid in here. My waterfall, I'm going to do the green in here because I don't want my two greens clashing with my waterfall. So if you know that you want a particular color in a certain spot, go ahead and put it in now. Otherwise, you can just lay it out, figure out where you want each one to go. I just want to use this green one up because my waterfall is a different green and I don't want the two greens together and I don't want to end up with that. So, and I know I want a solid here because I am using these really Beetlejuice looking, I can't help it, but every time I see this paper I think of Beetlejuice. And I'm using those inside and out on here. So, but do not fasten these, don't glue these in yet. You only want, because there's a magnet attachment going on here and you have to do it in a particular order. So do not adhere those pieces in yet. I just knew I wanted a solid. And then I'm going to lay them out just on the top, not gluing them, so that I can pick what patterns I want on each side. So do I really want to go crazy and have it like this? Or do I maybe want it like that? That's a lot. And this is what it boils down to. Just looking and deciding which way you want it. That is really, oh, I love this page. Absolutely love that page. What do we got here? I actually think I like that together. But do I really? I don't know. Decisions. Making my eyes go buggy. Maybe. What have I got on the other side? I have leaves. Well, I think I'll keep it as tame as I can here. Keep in mind too, when you're doing this, that you're going to be putting some pockets and stuff on over top of these. I think I'm going to go with that. Probably been thinking a little more clearly. I think I would have done solids on the outside and just kept those here because they're far enough away. And I don't know that I could do that. I do have some extra paper, but I'm not going to get into cutting while we're doing this today. So there's that one done. Then I'm going to move on. These ones, I'm actually going to do a little bit of a layout and figure out which way I'm going moving forward. Now, also, which page is my waterfall going to be on? So my waterfall is actually going on this page. So my green, oh, and look at that. And I put the green side by side. Does it matter? No, they're not on top of each other. Green is green. Now, I don't have to put my waterfall here. If I really wanted, I could flip it and put it over here. I could put it anywhere I want, but I'm going to try and stick to my original layout and the way I wrote out the instructions. So I'm going to put those two there. And now I'm just going to mix them up. And so this one is now going to flip this way. So I'm going to toss a solid in there with that. Actually, I'm going to put this one in here. I feel like I'm in a fun house with this, but I love it. All right, like this and like this. I'm just going to leave these lying in here so I know what I'm putting where. I'm going to put another solid in here. What color? Actually, what color do I want? There. Now, 1, 2, did I miss a page? Yes, I did. Huh. Wonder why I had 2 extra. So now I'm going to put this here and this one here. So that will go like this. Or do I want to go here? Could even do that and that. I'll put that there. Well, now I can't decide. That one. Waterfall there. A Hotch pattern and that. There and there. All right, trying not to overthink, so I'm gonna, oh, but you know. That. I think I'm going to put the blue there, and then all the way over here, I'm going to finish it off with that. This way, probably. There we go. So before I can change my mind, I'm going to throw this into place. This way. There we go. I'm just going to work my way backwards here. Put all my stuff in. I like putting a lot of solids into my folios. I find that it allows for more journaling type stuff. So if you're going to use it as like a photo album, you can put pictures in and write notes beside them. You know, and maybe you don't want the pattern to pull away from what you're doing, and you want it to stand out. You can use those solid pages for that, and use those printed pages with the pattern paper more for pockets, for stashing tags and all your little notes or ephemeras, whatever it is that you want to put in your pockets. So I do like to put a lot of solids in my folios. A nice blend anyway, because of course, who doesn't like this beautiful patterned papers? And I just love the paper rose papers. As you can see, I am changing on the fly with what pattern I want out, because I decided that I wanted that crosshatch pattern. I'm calling it a crosshatch. I don't know if it really is a crosshatch or not, but it's not a plaid either. go. All right. I love all these bright colors, especially in the winter time, because you know what? Winters are drab. I'm in Canada, and we have been having some crazy weather up here lately. So it's nice to work with the bright colors, with the short days. But did you know that in, I think, 2 weeks, I think, what is the date? 24th. On the, I think it's the 21st. That is the longest night. And then the days start getting longer after that. Yay! I am looking forward to that, because it is not fun getting up. And it's not even daylight until I'm leaving for work. And then it's dark when I'm going home. Once we get all these pages glued into place, then we're going to start, we'll go back and we'll put the waterfall into place. And then we'll work on that gatefold, and I'll show you how to make sure that you are getting the, you're getting the magnets in appropriately, because you do need to glue your fancy papers on in a particular order in order to get your magnets on appropriately. And I will show you the mistake that I made, because I did not do that. So when we get there, I glued them. Actually, you know what? And I didn't use a big enough magnet for it, is what it really happened. But if you do glue them on, I'll show you a fix, because I had to add a larger magnet after my original one because it didn't hold properly. All right, last one. You know, these albums would be fabulous for, I just keep thinking special events for these. Graduation, a new baby, you know, instead of the big photo albums, you could do just small ones, and you could focus on small events. You know, maybe it's Christmas 2024. And you want to highlight that. Maybe there's something special. Maybe you've got a relative coming to visit, and, you know, they only come every so many years. You could do such a fabulous little album with these. There we go. So now we have all our papers in. And you can already feel how much more sturdy they are. All right, so this is where we want to put the waterfall. So what we're going to do with the waterfall is we're going to glue this down. Now, when you glue the waterfall in place, you only want to put glue on this part here. This one right here. Do not get glue anywhere else because then it won't work. So we're going to keep the glue in towards the center more. One of the things I do too sometimes is I will just smooth it all down, because this way it gets tacky and it can't squish out. So whether you want to center this or not, that's up to you. I am going to center it as best I can. Make sure that is stuck down. And then I'm going to test it. So you want to be able to pull that. So you should have it in place so that you've got your punched hole down at the bottom. All right, because you're going to put a ribbon in that after. Now, what can you do with these? You can put photographs on them. You could put inspirational quotes. You could do whatever you want to do with these. But what you do want to do with these is you're going to glue them into place on this waterfall. So we're going to put them on. Each one is going to line up just with the top. You do not want it overflowing here. Okay, so we want to line it up. We want to put some glue on here. You can use double-sided tape at this point if you want, but you do not want it to go over, because otherwise it's going to hit on here and it won't fold nicely for you. So you need to bring it up, center it up on here, but not over. It's got to be able to slide. So then we're going to fold it over, and now we're going to do the next one. Exactly the same. Just want to be able to see a hair of that color. Flip that one up. These waterfalls are really fun. Just something different. Nice to add to a card. There you go. There's your waterfall. Now, we're going to open up this side, and we're coming over to these. So, the bottom flap, make sure I'm doing this right and instructing you correctly. So, the top flap, you can do the inside and out. So whichever way you want your patterns going. So inside and out can be done. But on the top one only. So that. And then you can do the inside only of the bottom. Where am I here? So bottom piece, flip it open and glue your paper in, but not on the outside. All right, so it should look like this now. Okay, now we need to pull these pieces that we had, okay? And what we want to do, this is going to get glued on here like this. On the top piece, that's your hinge, so that it's going to fold over to fasten onto the bottom. So what we can do is we can take that little tiny piece I had you cut and we can glue that on the inside of this. You don't have to do this little piece if you find it too fiddly, because it is fiddly. I just thought it added to it. So then it's going to look like this now, right? And then you can glue your top piece on, but only the top piece. So just the top piece. And then, so now you have it, it looks like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put glue on this piece right here, and we're going to center it from right to left, and then center it between the top and the bottom piece. And yes, we still do not have this one in place yet. So we're going to glue that on. Putting our glue here, or tape, whichever you're using. Like that. Now, you should have in the instructions that I have completely tossed to the wayside now, 2 magnets cut 3/4 of an inch square. And we're going to do the same thing we did with the big magnets. We're going to tape both sides of them, make sure that they grab, and they do need to be the 3/4 of an inch square, because anything smaller and it won't work. And that is why, if you look at my original book, so see how I have that there and that there, because my magnet wasn't big enough and I had to go back and make a bigger magnet with it. Okay, now you guys can laugh at me because now I can't find my double-sided tape. Oh my gosh. Oh, found it. All right, so I'm going to do the double-sided tape on my magnets I want to find which sides stick best. So I'm letting them grab. There we go. And I'm going to add my double-sided tape. Both sides of your magnet, remember. All right. Now what we want to do is glue this, or double-sided, peel the tape off, and we're going to stick it to the underside of your flap, your skinny flap. And remember to put it far enough in that you're leaving room on all sides for your paper to adhere around the magnet. Then I'm going to put this on it. Peel off my double-sided tape. Pick for this. There we go. And then what you want to do is we want to flip this over. I don't know why, but my magnet does not want to grab right now. We're going to flip it over, and we're going to stick it down, and where that magnet grabs onto the paper, and adhere it down. Now you can finish putting your papers on. So now I'm going to put this on here. And remember to add glue around your magnet to help your paper stick around it. You can add more to it if you want after, if you're having the same problem. My other one, I used the same size. It worked really well, so I'm not sure what the issue is today. Now the only other thing left to do at this point is add our pockets and our picture frames wherever you want to put those. And you can cut your, looking for all my scraps here. So hang on to all your little paper scraps that you have, because I used them to make my pockets, to add pockets to my pages. Some of them I put this way. Not there though, I don't want that blue there. Maybe with the pink, do you think? Could do that. Actually, maybe I'll put one back here. I'm going to tuck that on the back cover. Actually, I'm going to put it right here. One of the nice things about this envelope punch, you can use the notch side to notch it out. Because if you have one of these, you can make all kinds of fun tags to tuck in here like this. You can make big, long, skinny ones. Add ribbons to them. You can write things on them. You can add borders to them with your leftover papers. And then, of course, we decorate the front. I was sort of loosely following a birthday theme. What will I do today, though? I don't need to do the same thing. Let's do... Let's see. I'm going to have some fun. These embossed die cuts are so fun and they look so amazing. They just pop the color out on these black and white pages. Ooh, there's a nice pretty big butterfly. I might actually put the butterfly out here. Now, I do not recommend that you use foam tabs on anything that you put inside the book. It takes up the depth space and makes it difficult to add other things to it. And I know I'm just about out of time here, but I wanted to show you how you could add more pages. So see this extra space that we have in here? And we made that piece that was, I'm going to just loosely fold this, the piece that looked like this, much smaller than that, you can add another strip in here and add more pages. And all you do is you cut it the same width or the same height as this and allow for space inside here. So you could, whatever the space is that's left in here, make this smaller in here and glue it in. And then you can do single pages or you can do the double pages again. You can actually do more gatefolds, but make them full size. So this page, instead of doing it like a gatefold, you could have had it flip out and up, but it's a full size piece. Some of my, you'll see here, some of my pockets that I did, like this one. Again, I'm using all the leftover stuff, the sentiments from the back cover, but I just took a piece, I used my corner rounder, rounded them, created a nice big pocket in here, more pockets, and then you put your picture frames in, another corner pocket like that again. There is another thing. So now I didn't use it to fix a mistake, but what I did use it for was just to add a border. You can have lots of fun with all these little strips and even just using these for your borders. You could border up your pockets. You could, once you get your base made, you can decorate this however you want. You can go to town and just have a blast decorating these up I hope you had fun today. I really enjoyed it myself. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you again next month.